takes you, the more people die.
Tonight, ABC 17 News is taking you inside a new type of training more Missouri teachers are going through.
Guns in the classroom. It's something school districts across the country are turning to protect children. And last year alone, 33 states introduced more than 80 bills aimed at arming teachers and school administrators.
While Missouri works its way through a new law allowing for the arming of school employees, it was already legal in the state. School districts are heading down to the southern part of our state for training on using deadly weapons in school.
And tonight, in the first of two special reports on this topic, ABC 17's Christy Reeder takes us through that training, questioning how this effort is working inside the schools.
School shootings continue to scare parents across the country. Recently, 3 teens died in Washington state after a school shooting in which the teen gunman also killed himself. And who can forget this tragedy? We're coming up on the 2-year anniversary of the Sandy Hook shooting in which 20 children and 6 adults were killed. These acts of violence continue to spark a lot of debate on how to keep children safe, and some Missouri schools are now taking things into their own hands.
Get in this gunfight. Get in this gunfight. Good hit.
On a fall Missouri morning in West Plains, tucked into a hillside in the south central part of the state, a training session is underway on saving children's lives. A loudspeaker blares the sound of children screaming, and an instructor stands alongside, putting on the pressure.
The longer it takes you, the more people die.
We try to induce stress on them. It's not just stand on the line and shoot.
On the ground, on the ground.
Instead of textbooks and pencils, these teachers are surrounded by shell casings during this training session. Here at Shield Solutions, one of the drills they go through is trying to avoid the innocent victims, but taking down the intruder.
We try to do everything we can to create an environment that they may be in.
Greg Martin is the CEO of Shield Solutions, specializing in business and school security. A couple years back, Fairview School in West Plains asked him to come up with a program to arm some staff members.
Large motivator was Sandy Hook.
Aaron Saito is a school administrator at Fairview, a kindergarten through 8th grade school there in West Plains.
That door's down here.
He tells me the plan to arm some staff came from the board and concerns about the school being in a rural area. How far are you from law enforcement?
We're probably only 3 or 4 miles, but they estimate, that if they were sitting in their cars, it'd probably be 8 to 10 minutes at best case to get out here.
And with no school resource officer, those minutes are precious. Under current state law, school boards have the authority to allow the carrying of concealed weapons on school grounds. And that's the route this school took. Working with Martin at Shield Solutions, they came up with a plan to arm some staff.
I've got 5 trainers, and we sat down and we just we kept tweaking it. Oh, we need to put this in. We need to put, combat stress courses in there.
And it's now the plan Martin uses for the roughly 12 districts he works with in the state, including Climax Springs and Camden County, right here in mid-Missouri. The trainees become dual employees of the school district and Shield Solutions, which covers them with liability insurance. Before training starts, there's a criminal background check, a mental assessment, and drug test. Next, participants go through a 40-hour training course in which instructors start with the basics, teaching them how to hold a weapon. They then work up to those stress combat courses we showed you. Drug tests are done periodically, and mental assessments are done yearly.
We've had mental assessments where the counselor said, I cannot recommend this person. And we've had to do drug testing and had to pull people.
Training continues 4 times in the first year and then 3 times a year after that. As you've seen throughout our story, we've masked the identities of those participating, something they feel is key.
This program is compared to an air marshal program.
The idea that any moment there could very likely be someone armed and charged with security. At Fairview School there in West Plains, they won't even reveal how many members of its staff carry this role. While the standards may be high and the training tough, is this too much for teachers?
And I understand that. A teacher they didn't become a teacher to become a gunfighter. They became a teacher because they love kids.
There are people that, just think that's crazy, yes, that we feel comfortable with this. But, I mean, it works for us.
Christy Ramshire is a Fairview parent, and Saito says most parents feel like her, happy with the program. But he says in the beginning there were a few sit-downs with some parents. The program has been in place now since the spring of 2013, and so far the team has not been deployed, but they are ready.
It's well known that this school has armed people that are trained well and are here and ready to protect the children.
Many of you have been weighing in on our in-depth look at arming school teachers in Missouri, and although people are divided on the issue big time, it's something more districts are doing, even here in mid-Missouri.
The state legislature recently passed a new law making it easier for schools to do this. And in a special report, ABC 17's Christy Reeder is taking a look at the route schools can take to arm staff and concerns that are coming on a state level.
School districts are spending countless hours and a lot of taxpayer dollars on security plans. Now, Columbia's school board next week will be revisiting the issue of whether to allow the district's director of safety and security and his assistant to carry guns inside schools, something it voted down about a year ago. Now, while the idea of arming any school staff member may seem foreign to some, the reality is it's happening. School security is changing, buzzing systems just to get in, to active shooter drills where teachers and kids are purposely caught off guard. And the latest line of defense?
The longer it takes you, the more people die.
Some teachers and staff
Gently.
armed with guns.
With today's society, it's a sad commentary, the fact that we've even considering arming the people that are there to teach our kids, actually giving them guns to basically, if necessary, take someone's life.
Last night we showed you a program some schools are turning to train staff to carry concealed weapons. It's put on by Shield Solutions in the south central Missouri city of West Plains.
Good hit.
Currently, the company is working with about a dozen districts in the state. One of those I found out is here in mid-Missouri, Climax Springs in Camden County, now in its first year of the program. Like most schools, they don't reveal who is carrying. Paul Fenewald is the director for educational safety for the Missouri School Boards Association. He tells me he understands there may be some rural schools where arming staff may be appropriate, but it should not be a knee-jerk reaction.
I think it's important that there's a healthy discussion on that, and that occurs at that community level before any decisions made.
In the state of Missouri, there are currently two ways schools can arm staff. One is through recent legislation creating a school protection officer. If schools go this route, they must notify the Department of Public Safety, which keeps a list of all school protection officers in the state. There are also training standards, but right now, officials tell me there are no districts moving in this direction. Schools instead are taking the other route to arm staff, and that's local school boards deciding who will be allowed to carry a concealed weapon on school grounds. This is not tracked by the Department of Public Safety. In fact, I couldn't find any group that is tracking this in the state.
Do you think there needs to be a way to track those schools?
I haven't given that a lot of thought, and again, I have to ask myself what would be the advantage of that. And again, it would be nice, the public knowledge, just knowing that we've got X number of schools that have allowed that.
Fenewald tells me that might be something legislators could look at. Checking in at the Capitol, there is no rumbling yet this will happen in the upcoming session. Locally, most mid-Missouri school districts are keeping plans the same and not arming staff, including Jefferson City, where they have told parents it's difficult to imagine moving in that direction at this time. In the Columbia School District, the board is, however, revisiting whether to allow the director of safety and security and his assistant to carry guns in schools. They're both retired Columbia police officers currently taking care of security plans for the district.
It was voted down. What are you thinking this time around?
You know, I really don't know. I never like to speak for the board. I voted for it last time. I can't see why I wouldn't vote for it again.
This time around, there were some changes made to the wording on the training those two employees would go through. And school board president Christine King tells me there's no plan to arm teachers.
We hire an English teacher to teach English, a PE teacher to teach PE. I believe in this district, if we wanted to kind of ramp up our security department, that's one thing. But I don't think that we should take a teacher whose full-time job is to teach and give him or her a firearm and then say, now protect our building. That's not their role.
Something not everyone agrees with. Overall, though, whatever school districts decide to do to protect kids, education leaders in the state want everyone to be a part of the process.
These need to be local decisions made after there's a lot of healthy discussion and critical thinkers coming together looking at it from all the different perspectives. And my fear is that possibly isn't happening in some of these situations.
Again, on Monday, the Columbia School Board will be talking about the policy that would allow the Director of Safety and Security and his assistant to carry guns in schools. That meeting is open to the public, and King wants people to come out and give their input because, like you heard, many want this to be a community decision.